Hello and welcome to another review here on Theme Park Worldwide. In this video I'm going to be sharing my thoughts on Zadra. It's a hybrid roller coaster located at Energylandia in Poland. Now this is actually an iBox track hybrid roller coaster manufactured by Rocky Mountain Construction. It was a ground up ride. It wasn't a transformation of a former wooden roller coaster. It was a ground up iBox coaster from RMC, and I must say they did an absolutely incredible job with this ride, as we're going to find out throughout this review. Now it opened in 2019 and it was actually a big expansion for Energylandia in terms of where it's located in the park. To get to it you actually have to cross over underneath a road under like this little subway that takes you onto this next set of land that Energylandia are expanding the park with. They're also building another themed area there, and following on from that I imagine there'll be more future expansions in that area. So yeah, they expanded underneath the road into this brand new themed area that's got a very medieval style to it. Very nicely finished. It's definitely the highlight of Energylandia in terms of the theming and the atmosphere around there. It's got a really nice soundtrack playing, even if it's a little bit short. It does loop very quickly. It has got some nice music playing around there. They could definitely look at extending the music loop though. And you make your way down through this wonderful themed area, all these different buildings. You've got a couple of other rides. You've got like this cycle monorail around there. Along with that as well, they've got a couple of other coasters. So it really builds up the atmosphere as you're walking through this medieval style village. And then just on the right hand side, underneath this archway, is the entrance to Zadra. And that is the point where you make your way in to what is one of the longest, if not the longest queue for a ride ever. And I don't mean with people waiting in it, or at least not when I was there, in terms of how the queue has been set up for walking around. It is incredibly long. Like, this queue line just goes on and on. It can take over 10 minutes to walk through it. And the way it has been designed, or at least for when it opened last year, I mean, we don't know if it's been changed at all for when they reopen, but in terms of how it's set up, there's no like gates or anything like that to sort of let you through certain sections. They make you walk around the full queue line. So I'm really hoping that is something that they change. However, there is one positive to it. You get some absolutely amazing views of the coaster. The first section, you climb up some steps and go round, this long section up and down. And then you go into not really a cattle pen. It's a nice queue line. It's just incredibly long, but at least it does allow you to get some fantastic views of the ride. And it really builds up the atmosphere. You know, you can just look up to this ride and think, blimey, you know, we're going on this monster of a coaster. So yeah, you get to that point and finally you put your bags in like a locker, you go up some steps and you make it into the station for Zadra. In terms of the station, again, there's some nice little details and stuff around. I wouldn't say the station is heavily themed. However, you know, it fits in with the overall medieval style, what they've gone for. But at that point, you're not even bothered if there's that much theming in there, to be honest. You're just ready for a sit down after walking up and down that queue line. But at least you're not standing there waiting in it, or at least it wasn't when I was there. But I imagine as the park gets a lot more popularity over the years, and yeah, you know, that queue line will be full, or maybe not all of it. That's going to be thousands of people it can hold in that queue. But you make it into the station, and of course the ride itself. Now it can actually seat 24 riders per train. It features your standard RMC lap bar that's got the shin guards on there as well. So I know there's a lot of people out there who aren't a big fan of them, myself included. I really feel like RMC need to look more into their train design going forward. Don't get me wrong, you know, I find them reasonably comfortable. However, I feel like there's ways yet to make them even better and refine them. You've got to think RMC are still a pretty new company out there. I really feel like there's, you know, more development to be done with the train design, especially with Zadra and how intense it is. As you find out in my review, and of course some on-ride footage and off-ride shots, you'll see just how intense this ride is. So, you know, it is quite uncomfortable, especially if you're doing a few rides on it back to back. So yeah, you've got the shin guards and you've also got a standard seat belt on there as well. So, you know, they're pretty roomy around the top. However, obviously with the shin guards, it does, you know, you do need them there because of the inversions on there, but you know, it's one of them that it takes the inversions with that much speed, then you know, it does stop your legs from going side to side. But yeah, it is a little bit on the uncomfortable side. So yeah, it's time for you to ride Zadra. So you're all checked, you're all ready to go, and then you dispatch straight out of the station, a tiny little drop round to the right hand side where this humongous lift hill is just there in front of you. And yeah, it's time to climb it. 206 foot tall, this lift hill. The park themselves have actually stated that it's a little bit taller than that. However, the designer of the ride from RMC stated that it was that height. So, you know, it maybe seems to me like Energylandia were just trying to make out that it was a few feet taller than it actually was. But from what we're aware from the designers of the ride in RMC, it's 206 foot tall. And you start to climb up and you get some beautiful views. Out to the right, you can see all the gorgeous Polish countryside. Off to the left, you get views of that little village, that medieval village, and some of the other rides. And you'll also, as of when the new area opens with the new Vekoma coaster, what they're putting in, you're going to get some brilliant views of that as you're climbing up the lift hill. In terms of the rest of the park, you can't see it because it's directly behind you in terms of where the ride is positioned. So in terms of the location, it's gorgeous. They've put it in the perfect place of that park to see the countryside and some more of the park as well. And then you make it to the top of the lift hill, and if you're on the front of this, of course, you're just hanging there, that hang time waiting before you go down the 90-degree drop. And it's not just sort of straight down to the ground and there's nothing else around it. You actually go down this drop into the part of the wooden structure, which is incredible. So, you know, you're going straight down into it at some speed and back through the structure, and that really makes the first drop for me. The fact that you can't see the bottom of it, it just like disappears into the wooden structure for the rest of the ride. So I love that. On the back, and that's where it's at for me with Zadra, you get whipped down that drop straight into it, and with your arms in the air, I tell you what, it feels really questionable whether you should have your hands up because of how close some of these head choppers are, and you're going down that drop. It's incredible, it really is. And that isn't just the only head chopper on this ride, as you'll find out throughout the rest of the review. There is a lot on Zadra, and there's points where you feel like you've got to put your hands down, you know, as you're going to hit them. But, you know, I'm sure it is safe and it's got that clearance envelope, but, you know, it really feels like it. And that to me really adds to the thrill and the overall enjoyment of the ride. So, yeah, you've gone down that 90-degree first drop through some of the structure, and then you have a slight turn to the right, which is brilliant because it's not really banked much at all. And so you're just sort of thrown into the side of the train, and then you're straight back up into this really weird but amazing turnaround section. Never seen anything quite like that before, never experienced that, and it's really, really nicely done. The fact you go up into this turnaround section, really intense as well. And this is sort of what I want to say with Zadra. It's more about the speed and intensity than it is the airtime. And don't get me wrong, it's got some airtime, it's got some great moments, but that isn't the focus of this ride. I feel like a lot of other IMCs are focused on airtime. Steel Vengeance, for example, you know, that is focused more on the airtime, whereas with this, you can tell they wanted speed, snappy transitions, and that's what they were going for. So up into this turnaround section, where you spin round, you can see the rest of the coaster there. You can see that drop that you've just come down. You can look over and see the rest of the park in the distance now because you're facing directly towards it. So that makes it for me. For me, it's all about location with these rides, and what they've done with that turnaround is incredible. But yeah, it's ridiculously intense. You whip straight back round. And then you make your way down another drop at that point. So you've gone through so much already at this part of the ride, and then there's messing with your head. You know, you've gone all the way down through the structure, back up quickly into this turnaround section, all within a few seconds, and then you're back down again, down a pretty curved sort of drop with some nice twists, which really makes it actually, the fact it's curved, not just a standard drop, sort of curves around, and then you're back down, and once again you're going up into what is one of the highlights of this ride, the 0G stall. And wow, the fact that it's so high really makes this, because you know, you can see the other rides and the rest of the park upside down, and the fact you've turned up into it, and you know, it's a really long element. I mean, this is something that RMC are becoming famous for, the 0G stall, but the fact you're holding there for so long, and oh, just absolutely amazing. You know, the way it goes up into it, the speed is perfect with that. They've designed it so well. I don't think they could have got the speed any better. It doesn't take it too slow that you think, oh, it's a bit sluggish. It doesn't go too fast that it's over too quickly. It just goes up into it at the perfect speed into that 0G stall, and it looks stunning from off-ride, on-ride. It rides brilliantly. Again, I think towards the back, the rear seats are my favourite on Zadra, but likewise on the front you get some different forces and experience different feelings and emotions at different parts of the ride. But yeah, that 0G stall, honestly, just going up into it, absolutely incredible. And from an off-ride perspective, you look at that and think, what, we're going on that without an over-the-shoulder restraint? That's what the general public sort of look at these rides like. And, you know, I loved that. Like, riding it with a lot of people on there at the time, people were really amazed at that point. You could just tell from the emotion and the words that they were saying as well on that part of the ride. But yeah, that certainly is an incredible section. You then make your way down through like a twisted drop before turning to the left and back through some more of the structure. So this goes back to them near miss moments, them head choppers, where you've got your hands up in the air and you really feel like you shouldn't, just because of how close you get. Like, you know, there can't be much clearance there. Like, honestly, it really adds to the thrill of it, you know, it's with having your hands up. And then you go up into a really nice, probably one of the most intense elements of the ride. Really snappy transition, as you can see there. You know, it's 1 minute you're facing that way, the next minute the other way, in that outward bank turn, and it's just really nice how they've put that together. I really do enjoy those on other coasters, but there's something about the one on Zadra, because you take it at some speed, and it's actually quite low as well. It's not like really high up. It's quite a low like outbank turn that you go into, and that quick transition really makes it. It's a complete change of angle. So you drop down to the right, really close to the ground, and then up into a really nice floater hill that, again, it takes at the perfect speed. It doesn't go over there too fast. You don't get loads of ejector airtime on that. Like I say, it's more of a floater, you know, just like, whoa, that sort of moment as you're going over it. And it's nicely put together. Again, the perfect speed. That's the thing with Zadra. All of these elements, it just takes them at exactly the perfect speed, and how they got it to be like that, like, who knows? It's just so well done. So much designing went into just getting everything right with this in terms of the speed and taking them transitions and the elements and putting it all together in an absolutely incredible ride. It really is. You then drop back down from that floater hill and then straight back up into some more of the wooden structure and into the second inversion on the ride, and that's a 0G roll through the structure. So again, your head is so messed up at this point because you can't see like the points where, you know, you're upside down or you're on an angle. You're just, you know, in this wooden mess of a structure, and I love that. Like, it's the mystery of it. And obviously you're going through this, you don't have a clue where the track's going to go next. Obviously, you know, as a coaster enthusiast, we know the layouts and we know where it's going to go, but for the general public and that overall excitement, and also for your first ride on it, just not seeing the track in front of you and thinking, where are we going here, really makes it, because that's what happens here. You know, you go through that 0G roll and then it twists back round again through the structure, you know, which is brilliant. And then it sort of makes its way out again. You think, oh, right, you know, we can see where we're going. And you go down two more little airtime hills there, and they're really nice because you get some good ejector on those. These little airtime hills, they don't look like much from off-ride, but they do quite a lot, actually. I'd say that's the biggest moments of airtime on the ride are them two hills as it's taking its way down. Kind of feels a little bit like other RMCs at that point with how that is. But don't get me wrong, you know, the really nice airtime hills, it's not what it's all about, that ride. As I mentioned earlier, airtime is just one small part of this much bigger experience that Zadra is, and it's absolutely incredible. So you go through some more twists and turns and some really good snappy transitions before the ride makes its way up and into the final inversion, the third inversion on the ride, and the second 0G roll, and it goes up into that really nice speed yet again as it makes its way up there. This is the point where the ride obviously comes to an end. So it comes out of that and then it turns to the left and into the brake run. But I really feel like it would have been a little bit better if there was a couple more elements on this. And I said this in the vlog when I filmed it in 2019. I think it's an incredible coaster, but I really wish it had a bit of a better ending. Now, I know there's some people out there that would like the fact that it goes through that inversion, then you're into the brake run with some speed. But I feel like it's got that much speed that it could have just done a little bit more, even if it was just a really intense sort of helix around that section before into the brake run. I just wish it had a little bit more of a finale to the ride. So really, that's my only sort of negative point with Zadra, other than the queue line, you know, and how it needs a little bit some gates putting in. But you know, in general, it's a really, really positive review and a brilliant coaster, one of the best in Europe, if not the world. It's incredible. However, because of the ending, to me, it just needs that little bit more, the wow factor. I feel like you've gone through all these amazing elements on the ride, and then you come into the brake run, and you just want that little bit more at the end. The ride gave so much up until that point, and that is for me where Untamed and Steel Vengeance sort of come in as higher rated coasters for me because of the finale. For me, it's that final impression really you know, goes a long way. So don't get me wrong, like everything's incredible. I love the ride to bits. The 0G stall, the outbank turn, yeah, there's some brilliant moments, but I just wish it had a little bit more at the ending to this one. But like I say, this ride isn't all about the airtime. It's about everything else. It's about the speed. It's about the amazing pacing, the twisty transitions. You're going 75 miles an hour through 4,317 feet of track. So there's a lot of track, and it takes it with some speed. Like I say, 75 miles an hour. You go down that drop. It's the unknown. You can't see what's ahead as you go straight into the wooden structure. And it makes it an absolutely incredible ride. It's a nice area of the park. It's got some really good theming around it, nice soundtrack, and overall it is one of the best roller coasters I've ever experienced. If you get the chance to go out there to Energylandia to go and ride it, you've got to go and give it a go. Them head choppers are unlike anything I've ever had before. With my hands in the air, even I felt like I needed to put them down, knowing how much checks and safety goes into providing that clearance envelope. So you know, there we go. That's my thoughts on Zadra. It's a beautiful RMC. As much as there's some that I would take over it, I think it was an incredible investment for Energylandia, and I look forward to seeing their future plans for the park, because they've got so much planned. They've put so much in. It's a relatively new park, you know, and they've already invested in some incredible rides like Hyperion, the Intamin Mega Coaster. They've got some great Vekoma rides in there, loads of flats. Honestly, it's a beautiful park, and I look forward to going back at some point in the future, and I definitely recommend it, especially for Zadra. But there we go. Thank you very much for joining me for this review of an RMC roller coaster, Zadra, at Energylandia in Poland. And thank you very much for watching Theme Park Worldwide. Make sure you check out our various other reviews that we've filmed so far in the reviews playlist here on our YouTube channel. That means it's time to cue those credits. See you soon.